We're back with Worlds Without Number. Today we're going to talk about classes. For those that don't know what this is, Worlds Without Number is basically a modern take on OSR games. And honestly, I think this is way better D&D than D&D. So far I've talked about character creation, combat actions, and spells. Basically everything you need to know about how to create a character. But for this video, I don't think you need to watch all of those other videos. This is just about the classes. Welcome to Pack Tactics. Did you know that Capybara folk is a playable race in Worlds Without Number? Capybara? Capybara! Coconut doggy! So there's 3 main classes in the game and a mixed class. Technically there's even more stuff, like more classes, but I don't really know what to call them. So let's talk about the main 4 classes: Warrior, Expert, Mage, and Adventurer. The class you pick affects a few things: your abilities, HP, hit dice, bonuses, your attack bonus, the number of foci you get, and even what foci you're allowed to pick or not. Foci is feats, by the way, just remember that. For the last part, I have 2 examples. Polymath can only be taken by expert or partial experts, and developed attribute can't be taken by mage or partial mages. Kobold, what's a partial, expert or mage? That's the adventurer class that combines 2 classes. It's multiclassing. We're gonna talk more about that later. Anyways, the warrior, expert, and mage can be summarized in this way. Experts are the best at out-of-combat skills. They have average HP, attack bonuses, and they also get a free non-combat related focus at level 1. Warriors are the best at in-combat skills. They have above average HP and attack bonuses. And they get a free combat related focus at level 1. I'm currently playing a warrior, by the way. I really like warrior. And then we have mages. Mages usually get special spells and arts. This allows them to be problem solvers and very creative with their tools. They have the worst HP and attack bonuses and don't get a free focus at level 1. Let's look into more detail, starting with the experts. If you want to play like a thief or a scholar or a diplomat, then you pick experts. Unlike in D&D 5e, in Worlds Without Number, combat is kind of a fail state. You don't want to be in combat. Combat is very dangerous. Now don't get me wrong, like, you can make a good build that's good in combat, like mine. But even if you're good at combat, I would say you still want to avoid combat. And experts are really good at dealing with non-combat scenarios through their skills, which is actually really impactful in this game. Let's read their class features. They get 2 of them. First is Masterful Expertise. Once per scene, the expert may re-roll any non-combat skill check as an instant action. This allows the expert to make a roll and then immediately use this ability if the result total isn't enough to succeed. In case where it matters, the better of the 2 rolls may be used. You're familiar with this in 5e. It's like advantage on an ability check. If we compare Masterful Expertise to a numeric bonus, we can see that it is similar to a +2 bonus. This is actually massive compared to the other bonuses in the game. By the way, a scene is basically one general event or activity, and normally takes about 15 minutes. That means you're going to be using this feature a lot. It's really good. The second feature they get is Quick Learner. When you advance a character level, you gain an extra skill point which may only be spent on gaining or improving non-combat skills or raising attributes. You may save this points to spend later if you wish. This means that experts get to have both higher levels in more non-combat skills, but also get to be better at rolling these non-combat skills, even if their bonus was tied with a non-expert. By the way, even though expert class features are mostly just improving skills, it doesn't mean that it's the only thing they can do. Foci, which is basically feats, are so strong that they can change the formula up. An expert can be really good at assassinating, for example. We have a party member who's an expert who picked the sniper's eye. That makes him really good at surprise. Next is warrior, the one I play. Maybe you want to be a barbarian or a ranger or a simple human fighter with a sword. When things get rough, having a frontline tank or assassin or general damage dealer is actually quite meaningful through actions like screen an ally, which allows you to defend an ally. An execution attack, that that lets you assassinate people. That's the surprise thing that I talked about before. Certain character fantasies are not possible in 5e, but they are possible in Worlds. Warriors also get 2 class features. First is Killing Blow. Whenever a warrior inflicts damage with any attack, spell, or special ability, they may add half their character level rounded up to the damage done. This damage is also added to any shock they may inflict. Combined with Foci meant to improve shock attacks such as Arms Master, Close Combatant, or Shocking Assault, this ability ensures that an experienced warrior will almost always kill an ordinary human soldier or minor monster, regardless of their attack roll result. Very simple feature and insanely powerful. The intent here is very obvious. You are really good at killing people. The second feature is Veteran's Luck. Once per scene as an instant action, the warrior may turn a missed attack they have made into a hit. Alternatively, they may turn a successful attack against them into a miss, also as an instant action. This ability is particularly lethal when used with Make a Snap Attack action, and leveled against weaker monsters or ordinary human warriors, as explained on page 44. Only one exercise of this ability is possible in a scene, either to force a miss or ensure a hit on a foe. Both options may not be employed in the same fight. A warrior may use this ability with a crew-served weapon they are assisting in firing. This ability cannot be used to negate environmental damage or damage done to a vehicle or mounts they are riding. This is really useful, and there's 2 ways to make this really insanely powerful. First, you can use this with ranged execution attacks. Being able to turn a miss into a hit for assassinations is massive. That's basically super duper Nova. Second, with Snap Attack, you can attack enemies outside of your turn at a penalty. But with Veteran's Luck, you make it auto hit. This way you can stop spellcasters from casting spells, even if they win initiative against you. This is because generally, when spellcasters take damage, they cannot cast spells for the remainder of that round. As you can see, the warriors are the masters at fighting. They're awesome. You know what else is awesome? Buying dice and Only Crits provides. They've got Blood Red Murder dice fit for Baal's sacrifice. They've got Ducky dice that's perfect for summoning spells. And if you feel like cheesing game mechanics, why not meme with these funny cheese dice? Kobold, there's so many options. What do you recommend? Ah, that's easy. The Dragon Eye multiple dice set because it's one massive bag with 6 set of dice in it. I own these myself, they're great. Or you can get the Dragon Eye dice set that's got eyeballs in the dice. Huh. Funny, they have the same name. Yeah, they do. Here's another one, the Dragon Spell Scroll. They can't be counterspelled. And who can forget the Dragon Scales, metal dice? It's super... Kobold, you're being a super scaly today. You're just recommending things that are dragon-like. They're super cool though, but anyways, you should probably look for yourself. I highly recommend you check them out. That's onlycrits.com/GatorTactics. And if you like what you see, use the code GATOR for 15% discount. Yeah! Back to the video. Mages, they're very different from the other 2. They don't really get a class feature. They get something called Arcane Tradition. Here's what it says. The mage may pick one magical tradition to represent their occult powers, as listed in the magic chapter starting on page 60. This tradition may give them a number of additional benefits and restrictions. The best way I can describe this is it's basically you get to pick subclasses. Although saying that is very wrong, because these quote-unquote subclasses are like actually way more than that. Anyways, the options you have in the free version are High Mage, Elementalist, Healer, Necromancer, and Vowed. High Mage, Elementalist, and Necromancer are full-on spellcasters. They get leveled spells and arts. Arts is basically like cantrips, although different. These subclasses that are not really subclasses are obviously different kinds of mages, with different spell lists and arts and stuff. I talk about spellcasting in this video. As for Healer and Vowed, even though they're part of the Mage class, they work differently where they don't have leveled spells. They only have arts, so they just have cantrips. What a Healer is straightforward, it's in the name. Vowed is kinda like a monk. Both of these are really cool because you get a lot of options to pick from. I might cover all the options in the future if you guys want me to, but we'll see. And finally, there's the Adventurer. Worlds Without Number doesn't really have multiclassing. I kinda lied. The reason why I say that is because the class you pick at level 1 is the one you will have at level 5, 10, and so on. But you can decide to mix classes with the Adventurer to fulfill character concepts otherwise impossible. For example, you can be a partial expert / partial warrior if you want to do a bit of both. A partial mage / partial mage is also possible if you want to be an elementalist as well as a necromancer or something. The HP, attack bonuses, features, and foci the adventurers get depend on the combination of the classes they choose. Usually there's some kind of middle ground, but you can check out the details in the free book. A partial expert is sort of treated as a full expert, but it doesn't get the masterful expertise feature I mentioned before. You know, the one that rolls with advantage. The really good one. Partial mages still get the arcane tradition feature, of course, but they get less spells and arts. They're only partially invested in a certain tradition. Partial warrior doesn't get any of its class features, but they still get the higher attack bonus and HP. I really like the warrior features, so that's why I didn't go partial. Anyways, that's basically how it works by default. There are some exceptions though. Both the deluxe version of the main book as well as Atlas, which is basically the Xanathar's version of the system, include options that are counted as partial something for the purpose of health and stuff. But instead of getting the features you'd normally expect, you get special ones described in their classes. It sounds a bit confusing as they're kind of new classes, but nevertheless they count as one of the 3 main classes. In reality, it's not too bad. You just need to make sure you know what you get each level. In the deluxe version, they all count as partial mages. There's the Invoker, which is a caster that uses spell points instead of Vanakin magic. Invoker does get spells. Everything else I'm going to mention now don't get spells. They just get arts instead, and I think they're really cool actually. The first example here is the Skin Shifter, which is basically a shapeshifter. You can flavor this into a lot of different things, like a druid, or a shapeshifter, or a werewolf, I guess. You know, stuff like that. There's the Duelist, which allows you to play a swashbuckler, but there's less durability here. Not gonna lie, I don't really like this one, but it exists, so you know, there's that. Then there's the Beastmaster, that gives you a cool pet or companion with interesting features. If my character dies and I have to roll a new character, then I definitely want to go Beastmaster. Listen guys, I really like the Ranger concept in like every fantasy really. I don't know why, I just really like it. If you go Beastmaster, you can pet the dog. Fun fact. Doggy! Then there's Blood Priest, which is basically a cleric, but less focused on healing like Healer does. And finally, there's the Thought Noble, which allows you to play a character with telepathic-like abilities. That's all of the classes in the main book, and that was quite a lot. Now, some of you might have noticed that the names are quite specific, which might be disappointing to some of you. But believe me, you could just call it something else in your games. If that's a problem, the book even wants you to do that. Like, for example, this Lygason Beastmaster. You could just call it Beastmaster and call it a day. It's completely fine. If you're looking for even more options, you could check out Atlas. This is basically the Xanathars, as I mentioned before. The book includes Accursed, which counts as a partial mage, which works very similarly to 5e Warlock. You either get a sort of Eldritch Blast, or you can manifest a melee weapon. These Accursed don't get spells though, but they do get a bunch of cool arts. Next is Bard, which is a partial expert. They're really good at buffing and debuffing enemies through their performance. Again, they only have arts, no spells. Then there's the Mage Slayer, which is a partial warrior, and while I don't think they're mechanically great, they're supposed to be good against mages because of their arts, but I feel like a warrior is already really good at that. And finally, there's the Wise. It's a partial expert. They're basically a mundane priest. This class is mostly meant for no or low magic campaigns. arcanes. They're a bit weaker than mages. I wouldn't recommend playing this, but it's an option, I guess. That's everything. We've covered everything. I thought this video would be pretty short, but I was super wrong. One more thing, as part of the paid book, heroic classes do exist, which sometimes replaces features and sometimes just add to them. It's a cool rule set that allows your character to be more powerful. I haven't really looked too deep into it, but it exists. And you know, that's good. Again, that's everything. If you want me to go into more depth about these things, let me know in the comments. End the video. Guys, please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more worlds. This is gonna do bad on YouTube, so we need all the support we can get. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.